I wrote a script. So hopefully it speeds up the talking a little bit. Anyway, grab your coffee, your tea. Let's get into it. You're actually the minority. See, this is not the number one way to save people, and my own speculation leads me to believe that people don't actually care that much about the evidence that exists. That said, I know there are fellow nerds out there that do care, like me, and this evidence could possibly change everything. Shall we get into it? I'm Kira, just a fellow Christ follower living in the Seattle area. I write and podcast about Jesus, so I hope you're here to stay and hear my thoughts, feelings, and fun stories that you can find on KiraMurillo.com, my website. So this is part 2 of my mini-series where I break down what I found when I decided to see if Christianity is worth following. See, I'm obnoxiously obsessed with efficiency. So I started with seeing if there is even good evidence to prove if there's a God or not. So there are 3 arguments that the theists pose: the cosmological, teleological, and moral law argument. So starting with the first one, the cosmological argument. The easiest way to put it is a beginning calls for a beginner. And that stems from, the law of causation, that every effect has a cause. And if the universe is an effect, what was the cause of all of that? And that is the hardest question that the atheist needs to answer. What was the first cause? The nothing became something theory. I had a lot of difficulty buying that because philosophically and scientifically, that argument is flawed. We have no evidence for this. We know that every effect has some sort of cause. And so, that wasn't actually a good enough reason for me. But then as I started to think about it, it's like, wait a second, do we have enough evidence to even prove that the universe has a beginning? Because if it has a beginning with the law of causality, we know that there must be some sort of beginner. Now, is that necessarily the Christian God? No, but it means that there's some sort of creator behind this. So yeah, I started looking at, okay, well, did the universe have a beginning? So you start with the second law of thermodynamics that says we are running out of energy, running out of usable energy. So really, if the universe is eternal, we would have run out of energy by now. It's like if you have a flashlight with a limited battery supply. If you were to leave that on forever, we would have run out of energy by now. So it's like, okay, well, second law kind of points to a beginning. What else do we have that's out there? So we know that the universe is expanding. We know this from Einstein's theory of general relativity, which actually, has the assumption that the universe did begin. And this is where time, space, and matter all came into existence. Remember those 3. Those 3 are important. And we also know this from Hubble's redshift finding in 1929. As he saw galaxies are moving away from us, and this points to an expanding universe. And so what does an expanding universe have to do with a beginning? Well, if you kind of Uno reverse a universe that's expanding, you would see that it would all come together at some point. If you were to look back in time, that points to a beginning. Furthermore, there was the Kobe mission in 1992, and there were just infrared pictures of the very early universe and pointed to this Big Bang Theory, which the Big Bang Theory also says that the universe has a beginning. George Smoot, the lead astronomer from that 1992 Kobe mission, said, "If you're religious, it's like looking at God." That mission was incredible. But there are some objections to this. So one of them is the multiverse theory, and essentially it says that there is some sort of machine that's spitting out universes and like taking in universes, and it's just been doing that forever. But the issues with that is, well, one, we don't actually have anything to affirm that, and two, we still have to ask that hard question, my friend. What caused this? What is the thing that's spitting out universes? Where did that come from? The other objection I've heard, it's very brilliant. It's like the scholar will say, okay, yeah, law of causality. Okay then, theist. Then what or who created God? Uh-oh, Christian, do you know how to answer that one? But you see, the problem, brilliant question, brilliant question, but the problem actually lies within the assumption that's made about the law of causality and then the understanding of the law of causality. See, it's not that everything has a cause, it's that every effect has a cause. This so-called creator, this God, is eternal. In one, if we say that there's a beginning where time, space, and material were all created, the beginner would have to be something that is not any of those things. So in other words, this so-called creator has to be self-existent, non-spatial, and immaterial. That actually points to God, the God of the Bible, but we're not there yet. But it's, the who created God, that question isn't actually relevant, because God is, has been, and always will be. He's eternal. So I was pretty convinced that I was like, okay, well, the universe has beginning. This so-called beginner, I'm still very skeptical of what this may be, but okay. So then I looked at the teleological argument, and in the shortest, the easiest way to explain it is that every design has some sort of designer. So this refers to intelligent design. So in the same way, if you're going on a walk and you pass by a tree and you have the word you have the word chapstick carved into it, even if you didn't see who did it, you would just automatically know that there was some sort of, like, this is an intelligent design. The same way that, if you were handed an iPhone, you would just know that. You would know this because they're way too complex to be created by nature. So that's kind of what this argument says. And so the two paths that theists will use is they'll talk about the design of life and the design of the universe. So the design of life looks at just how complex people are. I've heard it before. You ask, what would it take for you to believe in God? And you often, or you hear the answer that, well, if God parted the clouds and said, "Hey, James, what's up? My name's God, I'm real," and sent some sort of message, then that would be enough evidence. But I think we often overlook just how complex life is. You think about DNA, this 4-letter alphabet that that encodes instructions to just build all living things. The message contained in the nucleus has the information of 10 encyclopedias, and the information equivalent of 1,000 encyclopedias is the entire cell. Like, at the time, I didn't know much about biology, so a lot of these things, I wasn't too focused on the complexity of life, but my biology friends, that's incredible. Yet the objection I've heard about this one is, okay, well, sure, the human body, incredible. It's fantastic. But, why does a human appendix exist? Why do blind spots exist? There's no purpose in that. I once heard the argument that someone said, well, if God's perfect, then we humans should be made perfect. And the Christian smiles because they know the answer to that. They know that we are not created to be perfect. But truly, to understand the purpose behind every sort of design, you have to know the designer. And so that objection is flawed. That assumption is flawed, to say that we should be made perfect because God is perfect. That doesn't quite make sense if we don't know the intention of why God, or this so-called creator, created people and did so the way that we have been created. But again, I'm not going to spend too much time on the biology side of it, because that's not really what stood out to me. But the design of the universe, this is where things were just absolutely game-changing for me. So there's this anthropic principle that people refer to when you talk about the design of the universe. And depending on the source, it's like between 120 to 150 of these constants that are just set perfectly so that the universe can exist. So things such as the oxygen level, at 21%. See, at 25%, fires would erupt spontaneously. At 15%, human beings would suffocate. Another one of these constants is the expansion rate. If the universe had expanded at a rate 1/1,000,000th of a second more slowly than it did, expansion would have stopped and the universe would have collapsed on itself. The tilt of the Earth is another one. The 23-degree tilt of the Earth is just right, and if it was slightly altered, the surface temperatures would be just too extreme. Hugh Ross, this astrophysicist, said the odds of the universe happening by chance are 1 in 10 raised to the 138th power. 1 in 10 raised to the 50th power is mathematically impossible. And that blew me away. And one of the objections that come up is, well, we had infinite chances. Surely we would have gotten it right. So they think of a monkey on a keyboard, typing away, and at some point maybe the monkey would write the word strong. I don't know. But the issue that I see with that is I think I don't think that that's scaled correctly, because the complexity of the universe it isn't just like a singular word that this monkey would need to type, but it could possibly be the entire Harry Potter series. I don't know, but I think we need to scale it correctly to see how ridiculous and how just how ridiculous that is. and just the odds of it are rare, to say the least. And the other issue with this, infinite chances theory is we know that's not true because we had one beginning. One beginning. The other objection I've heard is, well, probability isn't accurate in this case. How can we put numbers to things that only happened once? Don't you need more data for that? And that's totally, yeah, that's true. I honestly, it's like, yeah, I kind of agree with that. To say that, Mr. Ross got the odds correct. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. But okay, let's say he didn't. But even if you assign an arbitrary 1 out of 10, the odds of hitting, and let's go on the lower scale, the odds of hitting 122 constants are 1/1000th of a trillionth. This is where I saw a reason for God. I could not explain how else things just so happened to line up. The by chance theory didn't make sense to me. There's 52 cards in a given deck. When someone says that they can guess my card and they get it right the first time, then sure, I may believe that it's chance. But to do so 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, 100 times in a row, no, not at all. I know that something's up. I can't take that leap of faith and believe that all of these constants were hit by chance. I looked at that and it made more sense for me to believe that there's some sort of creator out there. If I can't even believe, someone that wins a game of Uno 7 times in a row, it would be even crazier to believe that the universe just happened by chance. The third argument I've seen is this moral law argument, basically saying that for there to be a moral law, there must be a moral lawgiver. And sadly, I'm not going to talk about that because at the time it wasn't so convincing, though now I think it's actually the greatest case for Christ. So, Christian, if you want to just jump straight to talking about Jesus, moral law argument might be your best friend here. But essentially it says that you can't know something is crooked unless you see something straight. If you just say that, oh, we are dancing to the tune of our DNA, or you believe that culture shapes morals, and you'll either say something ridiculously horrible, as I've seen scholars justify cannibalism, or you remain inconsistent with your thinking and you begin to draw lines. We see the creator of the universe is timeless, immaterial, non-spatial, supremely intelligent, self-existent, infinite, unimaginably powerful, morally perfect, and these are the same traits that is used to talk about the God of the Bible, though we aren't there yet. Robert Jastrow said, I am an agnostic when it comes to religious matters. Now we see how the astronomical evidence leads to a biblical view of the origin of the world. The details differ, but the essential elements in the astronomical and biblical accounts of Genesis are the same. The chain of events leading to man commenced suddenly and sharply at a definite moment in time, in a flash of light and energy. The hardest question to answer is, what was this first cause? If you open up the Bible, in Genesis 1:1, it starts like this: In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Could that possibly be the answer to your question? What was the first cause? In the beginning, God. But I mean, I guess we'll find out in the next episode. I'm just gonna pray us out. There are things in this world that are difficult to explain. How is it that it might actually be more reasonable to believe in you, O Lord? I have no words, but all of the feelings I felt when I first connected these dots are coming back to me, just as powerful as the last time. God, could your written word be true? For some, this may be the very thing they were looking for, to be able to see the Bible proven by things outside of the Bible. We're not even close to done yet. But this creator of the universe has the exact same traits as the God of the Bible. I can't believe that this could just happen by chance. I don't have enough faith to believe that this happened by chance. And God, if these are the same traits as the ones described to describe you, if that is true, everything in the Bible is true. If you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and you believe that Jesus was raised from the dead by God, you'll be saved. You'll be saved, and may His grace and love overflow. God, please just bring revival over Seattle, over our country, and over the rest of the world. Help us share the good news with goodness, kindness, self-control, and love, and that we do so in a way that always points to you and just points to you alone. May you get all the glory for it. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. I believe it fully. I believe it fully. I believe it fully. Amen. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you.